Coming to you from deep inside the bowels of a great big empty. Get ready for another episode of The Home Defense Show with Skip Coryell.
And that was Golden Glenn, the official announcer of the Home Defense Show, and I'm your host, Skip Coryell, author of 22 books, Marine Corps veteran, founder of the Second Amendment March, proud father of 7, grandfather to 19 and counting, and as a special bonus, I'm also madly in love with my own wife. My priorities in life are God, family, and country, in that order, and I hereby promise to never compromise in my convictions. I may go broke, but I'll never go woke. And, of course, joining me today is my faithful co-host and adoring wife, Sara Coryell. Sara, you and I celebrate Groundhog's Day every single year.
Yes, we do.
And you know how big a deal it is for me. But my question is this. 20-some years ago, before you met me, how did you celebrate Groundhog's Day?
Are you sure you want to know?
Did you celebrate Groundhog's Day 20 years ago?
If there was any thought about it, it was, oh my goodness, Hallmark is making another silly holiday.
So I have enriched your life.
You have.
With another holiday.
Another holiday. Thank you.
You know, every year in the spring, right, we have like a rodent problem. We have groundhogs, we got raccoons, possums, skunks. They all come out, fox. And I always kick into like hunter-predator mode. And I set out live traps, and I'll set out there and I'll hunt for all of these things that eat my chickens and the groundhogs that eat my garden.
Mm-hmm.
And every year I'll go out there and I'll kill as many groundhogs as I can just so they don't eat my garden. And I always tell myself, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to get a nice fat groundhog. I'm going to gut it out. I'm going to skin it. I'm going to cut up the meat. And then on Groundhog's Day, we're going to have groundhog for dinner. But I never do it. And do you know why?
I have a guess, but I don't know for sure.
It's because I don't want to gut out a groundhog. I've never done it before. I mean, I got out, last year I got out like 10 deer, right? And rabbits, that's no problem. But they're kind of cute and fuzzy, and I just don't want to gut them up.
That's right.
That was your guess?
Yes, they're too cute. They are cute.
I hate that I have this soft, warm, and fuzzy side of me.
It's an overgrown rat without a tail, if you think of it that way. No, it doesn't look like a rat. They're really cute.
It's not like a rat at all, because I don't think I'd eat a rat, though.
Yeah, no, not because they're not cute.
We'd have to be during the apocalypse for that. Groundhog's Day, that's my favorite movie with Bill Murray. We watch that every single year. So if you haven't seen it, folks, you need to check out Groundhog's Day. What do you like about the movie Groundhog's Day, Sara? Okay, so all these years, I thought you enjoyed the movie Groundhog's Day, but you really don't.
Well, he does get better over time. I like that he heals. I mean, he becomes really a great guy by getting to do lots of do-overs. So I like that.
Yeah, he starts out as a terrible narcissist jerk, and he ends up kind, compassionate, caring, and loving, and I think that's what I like about it most.
Yeah.
There's hope even for the vilest offender. All right, Sara, enough of Groundhog's Day. What do we got on the show today?
Well, today we're talking to retired Border Patrol agent and Marine vet Gil Maza all about changes on our southern border. Then in the shootingclasses.com self-defense report, we'll be speaking with firearms instructor and retired DEA agent Vann Winn from the great state of Georgia.
Can't believe you don't like the movie Groundhog's Day. All these years, I thought I knew you.
Well, you didn't tell me what kind of music you like till we'd been married for, 15 years?
Oh, well, that's true.
So,
Love is blind. You just keep on faking it. But every time we watch Groundhog's Day now, I'm going to know that she's hating this movie. She's just watching it because she loves me.
There's a wide difference between hating and not liking.
Honey, it's good enough. All right? I mean, the fact that you watch this movie every year with me just because I love it, that's good enough for me, okay?
Thank you. Thank you for understanding.
But before we get too far into the show, let's thank our sponsors, United States Concealed Carry Association, shootingclasses.com, and CenterShot Indoor Gun Range. All right, Sarah, what's in the news today? What do you got?
Concealed Carry Reciprocity Act reintroduced in House of Representatives. One Democrat and 120 Republicans introduced the Concealed Carry Reciprocity Act in the House of Representatives on Wednesday, January 8. The bill would allow anyone with a state-issued concealed carry license to conceal a handgun in any other state, and it would also allow residents in constitutional carry states to possess a firearm in other states. Our Second Amendment right does not disappear when we cross invisible state lines, and this common-sense legislation guarantees that, said Representative Richard Hudson. The Constitutional Concealed Carry Reciprocity Act will protect law-abiding citizens' rights to concealed carry and travel freely between states without worry about conflicting state codes or onerous civil lawsuits. Lawmakers have introduced the bill several times since 2017. However, the bill has never been signed into law. While it will likely pass the House, it is unlikely to get approved in the Senate, where it needs 60 votes. President Donald Trump committed to signing a reciprocity law during the campaign. He said, "I will protect the right of self-defense everywhere it is under siege, and I will sign concealed carry reciprocity. Your Second Amendment does not end at the state line." Gun rights groups celebrated the bill's reintroduction. Gun Owners of America said if the bill is passed, it would be the greatest legislative victory for the gun rights movement in a century. The bill not only protects people that have permits from their own state to be able to carry in other states. There are 29 permitless carry states. The bill also allows them to carry permitless around the country, said Eric Pratt, Senior Vice President of Gun Owners of America. That totally fits within the statement, the Second Amendment shall not be infringed. Gun control groups oppose the legislation. Every Town for Gun Safety said reciprocity would gut state standards. Concealed carry reciprocity would force each state to recognize the concealed carry standards from every other state, even those that have dramatically weaker standards, and those that don't require any permit at all, the organization stated. For instance, some states require training to get a concealed carry permit, others do not. Not all training programs are the same. Some are online, while others are in person and involve firing the weapon.
Folks, that is great news. We kind of knew that was coming down the pike here, but the takeaway from all of this is the best chance for national reciprocity in our lifetimes. We've got the House, we've got the Senate, not strong in the Senate, but we have a president who has went on record as saying, you put that bill on my desk and I will sign it. So that would be fantastic. And everyone in the country would benefit from that. So we have good things happening for the Second Amendment here in 2025, hopefully.
Skip, what would you like to say to the states that do have more strict concealed carry requirements, that are concerned about people who haven't been trained very well coming into their state? What would you like to say to them?
I guess I would say I understand your concern. The problem is it's a constitutional right. It's an inherent right. It's a civil right, just like freedom of speech, the right to defend yourself when someone's trying to kill you. So they're just going to have to suck it up. I hate to sound harsh, but I would say suck it up, Buttercup, because this is a God-given right, and you shouldn't have taken it away in the first place. All right, folks, so keep watching that, because we're going to have to light up the phone lines in Congress when that happens. And now it's time for our Home Defense Show, Hero of the Week. Who's our hero this week, Sarah?
Our hero this week is a 14-year-old boy in Michigan. He helped save his little sister from a would-be kidnapper by using a slingshot. An 8-year-old girl was looking for mushrooms in her backyard on May 10 when a man appeared from the woods and held the girl's mouth shut, Michigan State Police said in a news release. The girl, who has not been identified, struggled with the man until she was able to break free, and her brother, who was also not identified, used his slingshot to shoot the suspect in the head and chest. Police did not specify what he shot at the suspect. A family member reported seeing a man that matched the man's description running away, and state troopers searched until they found the suspect hiding. He has been identified as a 17-year-old who had injuries to his head and chest consistent with a slingshot strike. He has been charged as an adult with 1 count each of attempted kidnapping, child enticement, attempted assault to do great bodily harm less than murder, and 1 account of assault and battery. His bond was set at $150,000, and his court appearance is on May 17. The suspect got onto the family's property in Alpena Township through the woods, grabbing the girl from behind and attempting to pull her into the woods, a representative for the Michigan State Police said, according to CBS Philadelphia. You wouldn't think if you were playing in your own backyard or on your own property that you have to be concerned about something like this, but it just goes to show that there is evil out there, the spokesman said. The girl's brother was really the one to save her, the spokesperson said. For a 14-year-old to see that and pop into action that quickly is extraordinary, and he should be commended for it. What he did also helped us identify who the suspect was, because obviously the suspect had injuries from being hit with a slingshot, and those were things that helped us, evidentiary-wise, identify who it was, the spokesperson said.
Yeah, I love this one.
Oh, me too. It's a great story.
For different reasons. May 10th, looking for mushrooms. Guess what kind of mushrooms those were, Sarah?
Was she looking for morels?
Morel mushrooms. My favorite hunting seasons are deer season in the fall and morel mushroom hunting season in the spring. So that caught my eye right away. So, it's like I relate to this little girl. She's out there looking for morel mushrooms. But can you believe what her brother did? A 14-year-old taking on a 17-year-old. Normally, the 14-year-old would be afraid of the 17-year-old, but he wasn't afraid at all.
Well, if he was afraid, he controlled it.
Yeah, and those slingshots, and it also reminds me of David and Goliath, right?
Yeah.
But this particular slingshot, it was probably one of those wrist rockets, and you can shoot ball bearings through those. Those are potentially deadly.
Wow, that's amazing. Glad he waited till the girl got down or away, because, in a situation like that, he might have been tempted to try to slingshot the guy while he was still holding his sister. But
well, he must have been a pretty good shot. He hit him twice. So that's good.
Yeah.
I wish we had this guy's name, but they didn't say it in the article, because I'd love to give him some good press. But, man.
Brave 14-year-old from Alpena.
Yeah, 14-year-old boy from Alpena. Boy, you rose to the occasion. You took out the trash. You saved your baby sister.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
That is just awesome.
It's beautiful.
All right, Sarah, what's coming up on the show next? We got some good stuff this week, don't we?
Absolutely. Next, we are talking to retired Border Patrol agent and Marine vet Gil Maza, all about the changes on our southern border. Then, in the shootingclasses.com self-defense report, we'll be speaking with firearms instructor and retired DEA agent Vann Winn from the great state of Georgia.
You're going to love Vann Winn. You've heard him before, but I love the guy's accent. Those southern accents, they slay me. All right, we'll be back soon, but in the meantime, God bless and stay safe. We will be right back.
Firearms training should be easy. Instructors can focus on teaching and not worry about all the complex paperwork and management behind the scenes. Just pull the trigger and let us do the administrative work. Welcome to shootingclasses.com.
At Centershot Gun Range, we are passionate about training. Don't know where to start? We offer a 1-hour new shooter seminar to introduce you to the world of firearms and help you find training opportunities specific to you. Concealed carry, home defense, firearm safety, AR-15, private one-on-one training, custom training, or maybe you're on a security team looking to protect your church or business. We even offer weekday morning and evening classes. Centershot Gun Range has you covered. Start your journey at centershotgunrange.com.
Firearms training should be easy. Instructors can focus on teaching and not worry about all the complex paperwork and management behind the scenes. Just pull the trigger and let us do the administrative work. Welcome to shootingclasses.com.
The mere sound of his voice makes women swoon and men storm the gates of hell. Welcome back to the Home Defense Show with Skip Coryell.
And that was a beautiful and sultry voice of Golden Glenn, the official announcer of the Home Defense Show. Folks, we live in a dangerous world, and I want you to be able to protect and defend the ones you love. And that's why I have this show. It's my way of empowering you to accomplish one of your primary jobs in life. You are a protector and a defender. All right, listeners, before we get too far into the show, don't forget to check out our sponsors, United States Concealed Carry Association, shootingclasses.com and Center Shot Indoor Gun Range for all your training and equipment needs. Without our sponsors, this show wouldn't be on the air, so we thank you all. And now I'd like to welcome a good friend of mine back to the show. He's a retired Border Patrol agent and a Marine brother, Gil Maza. Gil, welcome back to the Home Defense Show.
Good morning, Skip. It's good talking to you.
Well, of course it is.
I was waiting for that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Gil, you were a Border Patrol agent for how long?
25 years in San Diego sector.
Oh, wow. San Diego. I was in San Diego one time, and you can probably guess where that was.
Hill Street.
Well, it was boot camp. Where did you go to boot camp, Gil?
Same at MCRD San Diego, where they make real Marines.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Well, I don't know the way the government works. It just, it wouldn't surprise me if they send the people from South Carolina to San Diego and the people from San Diego to South Carolina for boot camp. But
true, because there's a mythology out there that sand fleas somehow make you a better Marine, but I don't think so.
I don't think so either. All right. Well, hey, Gil, I consider you an expert on the border. What is going on down at the southern border right now?
Okay, well, as you can well know, we are on the hangover stage of the greatest and deadliest taxpayer-funded illegal immigration event and border security breach in the history of our country, thanks to the last administration. So there is so much damage, Skip, that was done by that administration to our country that I was sure that it would take decades to turn it around. And especially if this last administration, Biden and Harris had gotten elected again, I thought, we truly are going to be headed into some kind of chaotic situation where they perceive that the whole United States would be just screaming and saying, please save us from ourselves, save us and protect us, take away 70%, 75% of our money and just, medicate us, but just, keep us safe, take care of us. And then there would be what they want, which is, some kind of sociological construct with them being the ruling class. But we were granted a reprieve and Trump got elected. And when I thought that this generation was going to take another generation to wake up, and I mean in the right way, it turns out that through social media, through online journalism, online activism, that we managed to drown out the mainstream message and be able to put out Donald Trump as a viable solution to this whole thing. And now the whole country was screaming, do something about these murders of illegal aliens to our American citizens, do something, and then deportation was on the table 100%. So since then, since the very first day of office, I have to say that myself, along with all my colleagues out in the fields, all my fellow Border Patrol agent, my fellow ICE friends, HSI, DHS, are we're also in shock at just how serious Donald Trump was, and our friend, our new border czar, Tom Homan, was in getting this thing started. So we have seen a whirlwind of action from day one.
Yeah. I was shocked too. And maybe I shouldn't have been, because Donald Trump, he changed in the last since his near death experience. It's like he was always serious, but it's like after that, it's like, nothing like a brush with mortality to wake you up and let you know, hey, I don't have forever to do this. And man, I just can't believe how fast he's going, Gil.
Absolutely. And here's the thing, right? We do see a different Donald Trump, and no different in, we're not seeing the wasting time with tweets. We're not seeing the wasting times dealing with detractors. The guy must have been preparing from, 4 years ago to today, what his plan was if he was to make it in office. And he has no uncertainty. This entire barrage of executive orders and things that he's enacting have the Democrats and the liberals just scattered. They don't know what to do. Tim Walz comes out and says, oh, the fatigue, the stress. And you know what, though? Donald Trump said we would get tired of winning, so I don't blame him.
I was thinking about this yesterday. The way, Trump, he hit the ground running, but it reminded me of World War II, the Blitzkrieg, the lightning
Blitzkrieg.
war.
Yes.
Yes, he's blitzing these guys, man.
Yeah, he's not even giving the media a chance to keep up with what everything that he's doing. And I'll tell you, Skip, even though I believe that a downed enemy is at its most are at their most dangerous, I think he really gut punched these guys. And also I will say this as well. While America was very much in favor of Donald Trump doing these deportations, right, by the majority, I think that that also caught them by surprise because even though there's segments of social media saying that we're going house by house, school by school, hospital by hospital, building by building, and performing these raids, what the reality is that we have already removed almost 8,000 violent criminal gangbanger convicted felons that this previous administration thought for some reason was a good idea to release into our country.
Yeah. Do you think, Gil, that the gangbangers, the cartels, are they off balance or surprised by this as well?
Yes. And the retaliation is already happening. Keep in mind, Skip, that as hard as this might be, the cartels have always had some type of control of the border, right? In some places more than others. But in this last administration, they were able to take complete control of the U.S. border because all our agents and officers were out of the field, processing, babysitting, hospital, transport, security, and all the things that basically we became a corrections facility, right? We just became corrections officers, jailers, and babysitters. And so pretty much at any given time, almost 90% of the entire southern border and the northern border was left unmanned and unsecured. We saw the most record numbers in the history of the country come in, both detected and undetected, and they were in control. So just 2 days ago, in Fronton Island, Texas, in RGV sector, they had a 3-hour firefight where our agents are pinned down by the cartel just for a group of people. See, they don't do that for people. They do it for drugs. They do it for contraband, but they don't do that for groups of people. And that's we're going to see a lot more of that. And once these cartels catch their breath in each city that's going on, we're going to see these guys regroup, catch their breath, and then start to defend themselves.
Yeah, Gil, I'm surprised to hear that, but I follow the news pretty closely. I didn't see any of that
Right.
in the mainstream media. A 3-hour firefight, and we weren't told about it. That's crazy.
That's right. And so the only place you're going to get that is going to be with journalism like, online journalism like mine, borderwatchdaily.com, my old patrol pages on all across social media. And you're going to get it with the people that are on the ground down there. But even then, I received word of that literally 5 minutes into it. I know, firefight broke out, blah, blah, blah. Keep me posted. And then from that point on, boom, 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 boom. And it wasn't until a couple of hours later when Bill Malugin was able to report it out of Fox News for the first time. And then after that, it went its merry way. But even then, they didn't report the reality of it, right? The violence, the utter, just the guts of these cartels to just be able to fire upon our agents just freely. That is something, unfortunately, we're going to see a little bit more of now. And then we've always had a price on our head. I've heard that for the 25 years I was in the patrol. They're out to get you. They ambush you for. We had agents that had been ambushed and killed to grab their radios, to grab their night vision goggles, to grab their equipment, their guns, and everything else. So we've always been online for that. But now, this is the reality is they had control of a border for 4 years. They were able to do whatever they wanted, trafficking of everything, human trafficking, drugs, everything else, rose, almost, 600% is, I think, the last number that Tom gave us, Tom Homan. And you think they're going to give that up just overnight? Nah.
Well, they have a lot of resources. They have a lot of money because they've been entrenched for so long, and I think the average American does not comprehend just how heinous and how violent, how ruthless these people are. I mean, these people will cut your head off with a chainsaw, just to make a point. And what do you think about the military coming down to the border?
This is the time when Donald Trump is actually using the military for what is intended to use it, right? So he's now declared that these cartels are terrorist organizations. They're considered terrorist organizations. So they're going, yes, they're going down there in force to build infrastructure, to help with communications, to help with all those things, that we can do so we can put our agents in the field. But I perceive there's going to come a time when there's going to be there might be some active firefights between us and the South because again, and here's the thing too, right? That the mythology is that we're dealing with a bunch of knuckle dragging cavemen, and with these cartels that are just a bunch of hoodlums with the big boots and the gold chains and with the gold teeth, whatever. We're dealing with Fortune 500 people that can run Fortune 500 organizations. We're dealing with finances, with computers, with intelligence that would rival any government in the world. We're dealing with fighters that put together as an army that are so well trained, right, that they would give our military a run for our money. Of course, we got the technology and the force and everything else if we wanted to go in and take it, but we're not dealing with a bunch of thugs here. We're dealing with a highly professional, highly organized, highly, and endless supply of money. Endless.
Yeah, yeah, motivated too.
And
What?
motivated, correct.
Yeah, what do you think about? And here's I always view things from a military point of view, not necessarily the politics of it. I guess if it were me and you put me in charge down there, some of my men get caught in a 3-hour firefight. I would say we don't need any 3-hour firefights. Let's call in air support, some kind of a fire mission, and let's neutralize these guys. I don't care if they're on Mexican soil, American soil. They're invading our country. They're firing at our law enforcement officers, and maybe even at our own military. That's an invasion. And what would happen if we were to just do things like that?
Well, I think, and again, now that we have Pete Hegseth in there, and he's come out publicly and declared he's going to support Donald Trump's mission to deport and remove every vile criminal and everybody else, and all the collateral damage as well. So, in other words, the sanctuary cities had said no to Tom Homan coming in and just grabbing the felons from a controlled environment, the jails, the prisons, all those places. And so Tom Homan said, okay, well, you're the one sending me now to the neighborhood. So when these guys get out, we're going to be there to get them. And by the way, if there's anybody else standing around them that happens to be there that is just here illegally, never committed a crime, guess what? We're not going to ignore them. We're taking them with us. Right. Yeah. So with all that done right there, Pete Hegseth has said we are going to provide all the military support we can. And I think now that the option is open to include, if we experience something like this again, that we could reach out and get the air support we need, because yes, that should not have lasted more than 10, 20 minutes tops, just to get the word out and get the transports there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've got drones that we could send over there. We've got, attack helicopters. We've got all kinds of stuff that we can do. And it's not like we don't know how to do that. We've been fighting a war over, Afghanistan in Iraq for how long? I mean, so
yes.
We know how to do this.
But Skip, the sad reality of this, and I hate to say it about my own beloved organization, is for the last 4 years, we've done nothing but promote individuals from the field that only have administrative experience. Most of these guys don't even know a landmark where they work. They couldn't track a group if it was to save their life. So it takes a mindset, an active, aggressive, aware mindset to say, okay, today could be the day. This is what you got to do, and you send your guys out prepared. You send your guys out with the weapons that they need. You send your guys out. And then you have that, when the shit hits the fan, excuse my language, when it hits the fan, then you have to have a particular mindset that says, okay, boom, 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 One, two, three. Unfortunately, I do not believe that a lot of the people that were brought in by Mayorkas, that were brought in and promoted throughout the Border Patrol, throughout CBP and DHS in these last 4 years were only, it was, I really believe that it was the intention of this last administration to make us all just asylum officers. Our guns on our hips are just going to be for ceremonial show. In fact, I imagine that someday they would remove those because we wouldn't need them, because they didn't want us out there doing that. So unfortunately, while we still have some seasoned individuals there scattered about the patrol, we still have BORTAC and all those kind of things. I don't believe that a lot of the management in each sector has that kind of warrior, battle ready, situational aware mindset.
Well, who in the Border Patrol is in charge of getting rid of those people and replacing them? And I think we should put those people out in the field, put them in a firefight so they know, which end of the barrel the round comes out of, and put the warriors in charge. Can Tom Homan do that?
Absolutely. And see, initially, I thought that this mission was going to be so big that it would take someone like a Douglas McGregor, right? A general. Is what I was thinking, a guy with a military mindset, with a military approach, a military background. But I will say that Tom Homan's the right man for the job. And so there's going to have to be a cultural, structural change of the patrol, tactics, training, approach. We get this woke BS out of there. We get all the nonsense done away with. These music videos that the DHS CBP puts out, with the agents with their beards and their, dancing dances and doing little routines and singing songs. Come on, right? This is a real world battle, real world fight. And I think, unfortunately, because of the murder of the agent in Swanton, because of this firefight, they get caught with their pants down. We got caught, hey, they didn't know how to react in the situation. Now, I'm not going to Monday morning quarterback anybody, but I will say that this is a reminder. This is an eye-opening, come on moment where you have to come to Jesus and go, hey, this is the real deal. Lives can be lost. We could be killed. And we've always had that, of course, in law enforcement, because we were always out there in the middle of nowhere by ourselves dealing with 2, 5, 10, 20, 30, 100. I've walked, me and my buddies and have walked up to 100 people, over 100 people at one time, which if they wanted to fight, what could we have done? But we could still control the situation. That mindset, unfortunately, has been literally, not completely, but watered down by the Mayorkas leadership, and then the people that they put in place across the sectors, with a few exceptions, right? Greg Bovino in El Centro, he's got control of his sector like nobody's business, and he's always in trouble. That chief is always in trouble, almost got fired a couple of times because of what? Because it has a no-nonsense approach no-nonsense approach to a border enforcement.
Yeah. What about the wall? Are they going to restart construction of the border wall?
Already happening.
Good.
And again, the wall is not the end all be all, right? That's a tool. If you have walls in your house, but if you leave your house unattended for a couple of years, it doesn't matter how much walls, windows, and locks you have. People are going to break in and take and do what they want. The wall is a deterrent. And see, the initial idea for the wall wasn't just a metal or a concrete structure. It was going to have technology interwoven through it, communications, sensors, cameras, all those kind of things that help the Border Patrol agent do their job. But there has to be boots on the ground, Skip. You cannot properly secure the border without boots on the ground.
I agree. So what is your prognosis for the border? Let's say, I come back to you in a month. What do you foresee 30 days from now on the border?
What I foresee, and I pray will happen, is that Tom Homan will begin to set the structure from CBP and DHS and Border Patrol, set the tone throughout, right? There are good people in place. Chief Rodney Scott's going to take over as commissioner. We got some good guys that are going to be put in key positions that are going to be no nonsense. Trump will take no less. Tom Homan will take no less. And I hope that the culture of the patrol, the culture throughout CBP DHS will become one of enforcement. Before it was release and appeasement. Now it's going to be enforcement, and that's what we were created to do. So I hope in a month we could say that we have regrouped. The one thing that the Border Patrol does well, and that is adapt, right? Adapt and overcome. Actually, like to say in the Border Patrol, adapt, improvise, and overcome. So we are good at that. So I'm hoping that the mindset will change, the structure will change, and we'll begin to see stories from the field where we're able to handle these kind of situations in a much more decisive, definitive way, especially since now those people firing at us from the South Side are now considered terrorists.
Awesome. All right. Well, hey, Gil, I'm going to have you back in 30 days or so. We'll get an update on what's going on. But before you take off here, go ahead and tell people how they can follow you between now and then.
Thank you, Skip. Well, I'm at Old Patrol HQ on Instagram, Facebook, and X or Twitter. And you can catch all the latest stuff. And that is straight from the field, straight from retired Border Patrol agents and officers throughout the all the agencies at borderwatchdaily.com, borderwatchdaily.com.
Awesome. All right. Hey, Gil, thank you very much for your service to our country, and thanks for being on the Home Defense Show today.
Thanks, Skip. I'm sorry that the Colonel kicked you out of the next segment, but I'll try to recommend some kind of books that doesn't require a lot of thinking for the next group.
Coloring book. You can do a coloring book.
We'll do it. Yes, we'll present a coloring book this time.
All right. All right. Thank you very much, Gil.
All right, Skip.
All right, this is Skip Coryell on Home Defense Show. Coming up next, we'll get some expert advice on the details of self-defense in our shootingclasses.com self-defense report with firearms instructor and retired DEA agent Vann Winn from the great state of Georgia. All right, folks, during the break, I want you to log into rumble.com and search on the Home Defense Show. I've posted a series of entertaining and educational videos there just for you. Check them out, and don't forget to like, share, and follow. God bless and stay safe, because we will be right back.
Avoid danger, save lives, and keep your loved ones safe. If this sounds good to you, you sound good to me, and I'd like to help you do those things. Avoid danger, save lives, and keep your loved ones safe. If you're looking for more excitement in your life, we have nothing to offer you. But if you are a thoughtful, responsible, nonviolent man or woman, we'd love to teach you what to do if something crazy happens. More importantly, we'd like to teach you what not to do. We currently have over 500,000 members. They are doctors and single moms and firemen and grandmothers and veterans and Democrats and Republicans and members of every faith. But the one thing they all have in common is that they know exactly what to do if something crazy happens. When you're with one of our members, you are safe. Our members know how to de-escalate situations. They know how to calm things down. We are the United States Concealed Carry Association. See what we're all about at usconcealedcarry.com.
Discover the little-known backstory of the U.S. Concealed Carry Association at usconcealedcarry.com.
He's old, he's cranky, his back hurts, and he can't remember where he put his car keys. But his mother still loves him. Welcome back to the Home Defense Show with Skip Coryell.
And that was the beautiful and sultry voice of Golden Glenn, the official announcer of the Home Defense Show, and I'm your host, Skip Coryell. Don't forget to check out our sponsors, United States Concealed Carry Association, shootingclasses.com, and Center Shot Indoor Gun Range for all your training and equipment needs. And now it's time for our weekly self-defense report, sponsored by shootingclasses.com. And today we're speaking with firearms instructor Vann Winn from the great state of Georgia. So, Vann, how are things down there in the Peach State?
Well, snow, as we talked a little before we started, the snow has melted, and today it's going to be about 70 degrees or a little higher. So, yeah, things are good here now. A week ago, 4 inches of snow, this whole town freaked out.
You know, Vann, I've got to make it down there to Georgia and buy you lunch sometime. I'll buy you like steak and lobster just so I can get warm.
Anytime, man. You're welcome anytime, brother.
Alrighty, that sounds good. All right, well, Vann, before we get too far, I want to go ahead and remind people about your background because you've led a colorful life. Tell the listeners about you.
I'll make it short. I started in Tennessee as a local police officer, became a detective, worked on the SWAT team, ended up in special operations, got recruited by DEA, where I worked for the last 26 years. Firearms instructor federally, tactical instructor, all that cool stuff. Also a lifelong martial artist. And then when I retired a couple of years ago, I started my own training company called Reticent Warrior Tactics, where I teach all that cool stuff, including self-defense and martial arts.
That is a colorful life. Do you kind of get, I don't know, is it hard to leave all the adrenaline behind because of the life that you've led?
Uh, I miss things. I say when I left the local police department, one of the big things I missed was the camaraderie and the stuff we did on the SWAT team and then the special operations unit. That was super fun, and you have like I said, there's a lot of adrenaline going on there. And then, but DEA was fun too. The hardest thing I think is just you miss all the people because you leave and everybody else stays. So and you lose a little contact because there's a lot of people that I'm friends with. I'll be friends with my entire life, but there's also people that you're just work friends with, and when you leave, that kind of ends that relationship unless you see them out somewhere.
Yeah. But you probably don't miss wrestling down drunks and trying to put them in handcuffs.
No, I haven't wrestled down drunks in a very long time. Fortunately, with DEA, we typically worked a lot bigger cases, so we targeted pretty major players, cartels, terrorist organizations, and stuff like that. So they weren't drunks; they were still bad guys, but they weren't quite as easy as wrestling down a drunk.
Yeah. So how are you feeling about Donald Trump's first week in office? Are you happy with what he's doing, or
I'm astonished, man. This guy is I'm wondering when he sleeps because he's gotten so much done, and as we'll talk about later today, the immigration problem in this country that was caused by the Biden administration is just crazy, and I'm glad to see that we're taking steps to get bad people out of our country, and people that a lot of these people have committed numerous crimes, serious crimes before they got here, and they weren't vetted, and they just allowed them in the country, and that's a disaster. So all the stuff that he's doing and watching ICE and actually watching ICE and DEA work together up in New York to go after some of these really bad targets was a real good thing to see. So I'm excited about where this country's going.
yeah, man, I feel exactly the same way. I mean, it's like there are, far left liberals all across the country that are like curled up in the fetal position and crying in their beer. But I'm okay with that. It's their turn. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, we've had to suffer through 4 years of a lot of incompetence, in my opinion, and just ignoring the law, ignoring our immigration laws, using the Department of Justice to go after Trump. I just so many things were done wrong and immorally in that administration. I don't know how that itself is not a crime. But hey, if you pardon everybody and then give everybody a future pardon just in case, I guess that's what you do when you're committing crimes.
Yeah, that's for sure. I wish I could, do that for myself and all of my family, but my family doesn't really need it, and I don't need it either. I tend to follow the law and go out of my way, so I don't get in trouble.
Yeah, well, my daughter is a school teacher and my son is a police officer, so I've never had to need a pardon or take crack pipes away from either one of my kids.
Well, that's good. All right. Well, Van, I've got a pretty spicy article here. So
Yes,
I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to read that and then you're going to break it down for us, okay?
I'll do my best.
All right, here we go. Nearly 3 months after a West Virginia mother's brutal murder, allegedly at the hands of an illegal immigrant with an extensive rap sheet, mystery still surrounds her final few hours alive. Samantha Daly's body was found on a burning sofa in a field in Berkeley County near the town of Martinsburg on May 6th. Her remains were so badly burned that police were initially only able to determine the body was that of a woman. The 32-year-old mother of two had reportedly met her killer around a week before she disappeared, with police alerted to her disappearance when the GPS tracker she was wearing stopped working. The man accused of killing her, a 46-year-old Salvadoran national named David Antonio Calderon, had served a 22-year prison sentence in his home country for crimes including murder and sexual assault before entering the U.S. illegally in 2021. He was due to appear for an immigration hearing 2 days after Daley's body was discovered, having been initially released by U.S. authorities with a notice to appear. On the day of his hearing, Calderon was arrested for a pair of separate violent assaults that preceded Daley's murder. At that point, investigators had already been looking for Calderon in connection with 2 other violent incidents. The Jefferson County Sheriff told Newsweek that on April 10, Calderon had allegedly beaten a couple living at a homeless camp with a baseball bat, leaving them with serious injuries that required hospitalization. Calderon was reportedly known at the camp only by a nickname, making it difficult to track him down. He then allegedly got into an argument with another man on April 28 and stabbed him multiple times, the sheriff's office said. The Salvadoran arrived in the U.S. illegally sometime after his release from prison in 2021, officials said. So, this guy, is allegedly he did all these things. The guy that, he allegedly stabbed somebody to death. He allegedly burnt this woman up and, all the things that he did in his home country. He's just a victim. What do you think?
He is a bad person. He's a bad man, and he is the prime example of why we have to have border security, why we have to vet people coming into our country, because he should have never been here. And that's probably one of the saddest things for this woman and her family and her poor children, is that she was killed by someone who should have never been in this country. And not only, I mean, it's one thing, I get it. Sometimes people sneak in. We don't catch everybody. That's just a fact of life. This guy got caught. They caught him and they released him. If they would have just done a first grade level background check on this guy, they'd have been like, hey, you can't come in this country.
Yeah. That just astounds me. My wife and I, we were talking last night about, okay, why did the Biden administration, it's almost like they're purposely trying to destroy America. And I don't get that. I just don't get it.
I don't either. And it makes no sense. I mean, I think initially they started doing this thinking that they were going to get more votes and they were going to get the immigrant vote. But then, when you do things like this, you start seeing the people who are here legally, they're not for this. The immigrants that came to this country are absolutely against letting people in this way. This is it sets a bad precedent. It's a crime for what they're doing. So I don't even know how they do it. I don't understand how the President Biden was able to do that.
Yeah, it's astounding to me. You mentioned incredible incompetence.
Yes.
But and it is incompetence, but I just feel like it's got to be more than that. It's almost diabolical, because we were forced for 4 years to watch a country that you and I love be systematically dismantled and destroyed. And man, that was probably the hardest part of me for the last 4 years.
Oh yeah, and I get it. I think there are a lot of people on both sides, Democrat, Republican, whatever, that are really good people who believe in what they're doing, who believe that their policies or their ways are the right ways. But I don't see how anyone can competently look at this and go, "This was a good idea." This is. I just don't see how anybody could stand for this. And I'm like you, it seems to have been done on purpose to destroy our country, and I really don't know why. Why would a president do this?
Yeah, it's a mystery. Now this woman here, it sounds like she wasn't as pure as the wind-driven snow. I mean, she had that. Yeah. So she had gotten in trouble with the law before. That doesn't mean she deserved to be burned to death on a couch in a field. But one of the things that I always tell my students, is when you let crazy people into your life gets crazy. So talk about that for a second.
Oh, absolutely. Our parents used to tell us that all the time. Don't hang around with so and so because they're a bad influence. And from what the article said, she met this guy a week earlier. So it's not like he just grabbed her and kidnapped her. She knew this guy. And so it doesn't go into any extent of what their relationship was, but obviously, it sounds like she allowed him to be in her life, which is a really bad idea. And if she did, my question, and we'll never know the answer, is did she know about him beating that couple on April 10th? Did she know about him stabbing a guy on April 28th before in May he killed her? Did she realize that this guy's not only a bad person from his previous convictions in his home country, but that everything he's doing over here seems to be escalating? He's getting worse
Yeah.
and worse.
One of the tragedies for me personally, with all of this illegal alien crime wave that we have, is it's totally jaded the way I look at Hispanic people, because a large majority of them they're Hispanic, and it's like when I'm out in public and I see Hispanic people, it's like, okay, I immediately think, all right, are they here legally? Are they illegal aliens? Are they criminals? And I know you're not supposed to judge based on the race, but it's like I can't look at someone and tell, okay, are they a danger to me based on their race? But it's what advice do you have to people for that?
Yeah, well, I think you're right. It's hard if you're the victim of a crime for whatever reason, or you're involved in something in a particular race or a particular type of individual is who does it to you, then it is hard not to have those internal biases, whether you want to or not. It's just kind of a fact of life. You take that and go back to 9/11 with Middle Eastern people. When after 9/11, every time you get on an airplane with some Middle Eastern people, we're freaking out, and that's not the way to handle things. You have to base your judgment on what somebody is doing, or maybe if you know what they've done, like this guy, that's one thing. But then you have to base on what they're actually doing at the moment, whether or not they're a good or bad person. And that's just situational awareness and paying attention and seeing if their words are actually in line with what they're actually doing, if they're in line with their actions. So, but yeah, it's hard not to have those biases when this is what we keep seeing, and you can't look at most people if they're a Hispanic. No different than if they're white or black or any other color. You can't look at somebody and go, well, that's a bad person. There's no way to
Yeah.
tell. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, all these countries are, letting it's the Hispanic population that's mostly coming in here.
Well, and I think that's probably one of the reasons that Hispanic Americans, who came in the right way or they were born here, maybe they've been here for 5 generations. I think that's one of the reasons they really are against all of this illegal immigration coming off the southern border, because people look at them and it's like they're tainted by association, and I wouldn't want that either.
No, no, and it's a big difference being here legally and being here illegally. And even, you go back 20 years ago when people snuck into this country from South American countries, by and large, most of those people did that because they wanted to improve their life. They wanted to have a chance at the American dream and raise their family in better situations. These people, like this guy, he didn't come here for that. He didn't come here to prosper and live the American dream. He came here to get away from his past, and then obviously just continue doing that in a different country.
Yeah, yeah, he came here to rape, pillage, and plunder, and that's what he did. Well, Van, I think probably the biggest takeaway from here is roughly 80% of murder victims knew their attacker, and so you got to be very judicial about how you let people into your life. Be careful about who you let into your life.
Oh, that you're exactly right, and especially, all of us have to be that way, but especially if you're a woman, you really have a single mother or something. Not only do you have to worry about your kids, the
Yeah.
thing that we haven't even really got to discuss is he beat these other people, he stabbed these other people, but once he killed her, he burned her body, and most time when somebody burns a body, it's because they're very likely covering up other crimes and trying to cover up or get rid of any kind of trace evidence. So we don't know what all he did to her before he killed her. Her last moments on this earth were absolutely horrible.
Definitely, without a doubt. All right. Well, Vann, before you go, please tell people how they can find out more about you.
Sure. You can find us on our website at renaissancewarriortactics.com. We're also on Facebook and Instagram, and you follow us there and come train with us. Check us out.
Awesome. All right, Vann, thank you very much for being on Home Defense Show today.
My pleasure, buddy. Great to talk with you, Skip.
All right, folks, that about wraps it up for this week's show. I've had a good time, and I hope you have too. Please don't forget to thank our sponsors, CenterShot Indoor Gun Range at centershotgunrange.com, shootingclasses.com to help you find the right trainer for your needs, and the United States Concealed Carry Association. For all your self-defense needs, go to uscca.com. All right, I've written 20-plus books, and they're all available on Amazon.com in paperback, ebook, and audiobook. This week, check out my Concealed Carry for Christians. It's all about the moral use of deadly force. And also check out the Home Defense Show videos on rumble.com. And if you want training from me in person, then check out Midwest Tactical Training at shootingclasses.com. Please join us again next week for all your home defense needs. In the meantime, God bless and stay safe.
Thank you for joining us this week on the Home Defense Show. Now, get out there and protect the ones you love. We'll see you next week with more of the best.
Bye-bye, boys! Have fun storming the castle!